Narrative Podcast with Halsey Allen. The Narrative Podcast is changing the narrative one episode at a time.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another full edition of the Narrative Podcast. And I am your host, Halsey Allen. The Narrative Podcast is the home of original people, peace, reciprocity, and positivity. Welcome to the Narrative Podcast. My normal listening audience, I refer to as my narrators. They already know what my platform is about and what type of content that I bring to the table. But for those of you that do not or are unfamiliar with the Narrative Podcast, me or my platform, allow me to just quickly give you a walkthrough over my platform and content. So we're going to do a brief overview of the Narrative Podcast before diving into the content so you're not too lost. So let's start at the very top. Tippy. Well, first off, let's do a little informal. I just want to know, was wondering how everybody's week went. Had a nice productive week. I know I did, and if you didn't, well, there's always next week. Been a whole lot going on in these streets. So let's stay focused. We only got a little bit left before this year is almost gone. We're in the month of October. So like 23 is almost gone. So we got to get that game plan around them last few bases. So anyway, back to what I was saying. I'm going to give you a brief overview of the Narrative Podcast before diving into the content. So let's start at the very top. Tippy, the name, the Narrative Podcast. I named my podcast the Narrative Podcast because I don't like the false narrative that the media weaves about original people and original culture. So I designed this platform with that in mind. And my ultimate goal for this platform is to basically dispel the way the media portrays original people and original culture, in the media. They always portray our people and our culture from a negative space. They always go out of their way to make us look unintelligent, degenerate, toxic, violent, lazy, the whole nine. So what I want to do is basically design a platform where I'm highlighting our people's strengths and playing up our best qualities, our excellence, our intelligence, our sense of compassion with each other, unity, strength, all that good stuff that the media doesn't shine the light on when it comes to our people and our culture. So that's the whole, purpose of the Narrative Podcast, is to uplift and edify our people. And by our people, I mean original people. I get to the original part in a second, AKA black, but I'll get to all that in a second. But yeah, that's basically my mission statement here on the Narrative Podcast is to uplift and edify our people. As a matter of fact, that's a perfect segue to my tagline. The Narrative Podcast, changing the narrative one episode at a time. How do I change the narrative? Or it's changing the narrative one episode at a time by destroying negative stereotypes about original people and original culture. How do I destroy these negative stereotypes? Provide positive frames of reference. And that's primarily my main mission statement here on the Narrative Podcast, is to provide positive frames of reference in response to lack of positive frames of reference that the media supplies to people outside of our culture about original people and original culture. You know, all the frames of reference given to everyone outside of our culture is all negative. They primarily do this for profits, to basically sell news, of course, but then they also do it as a form of psychological warfare against our people. They want to, damage our psyches, accept things, non-normal things within our community as normal by just programming us and conditioning us to accept it by constantly bombarding us with negativity, constantly showing us on the receiving end of bad business, constantly showing us downtrodden, destitute, in the trenches in a bad way, So it's my mission statement to show us in a positive light, showcase and highlight us winning, showcase and highlight us being leaders, showcase and highlight family structure and all other manners of positivity coming out of our community, all forms of excellence coming out of our community, as opposed to degeneracy, as opposed to toxicity, violence, and buffoonery and just foolishness. So yeah, that's the media's job, is to basically spread propaganda about our people, market us a certain way to a certain demographic of people, thus locking us out of the running to, compete for the resources. See, it's a big giant game. They primarily do this for money, but they also do it to help the higher echelon, aka wealthy white people, sustain their seats at the top of the food chain. And they do this by making everyone else outside of the bubble appear less than. They do this to all classes of people, all races, all ethnicities, backgrounds, whatever. They use these negative stereotypes against everybody. They want to rewrite history and, basically paint themselves to be the savior, saving everybody and, saving everybody from themselves by providing enlightenment and teaching people not to be savages, basically. And that's just not true. See, they can lie all they want to, history can't. And that's why they got it in so bad for our people, because they know their history and they know ours. And their biggest fear is that the moment that we stop fighting each other, start educating ourselves, that we'll start waking up after we realize who we are, and then reclaim our rightful spot, reclaim everything that they stole from us, and do to them what they did and are currently doing to us. But it's an ill-gotten fear, because that's not in our people's nature. That's not who we are as a people. Like I said, we're the complete opposite of, how we're being shown in, portrayed in the media as. We're the complete opposite of that. So yeah, Another thing, I also want to encourage people to share positive content on all their platforms, original people to share positive content on all platforms that they occupy. That's another, tier in my mission statement, is to bring awareness to everyone of how important it is to share positive content about our people and our culture on whatever platform they occupy. So I want to encourage people to do that as well on the Narrator podcast, is to encourage people to share positive content on their platforms. Because as I said, the media's job is to put out negative frames of reference about our people and our culture. But as evil and wicked and diabolical the media is, at the core of it also, it's just a business. And the quintessential first rule of business is supply and demand. And these days we're living in the digital era. Fortune 500 companies, media, aka media outlets, they produce products based on their findings from their statistical research that they conduct online. So what do I mean by that? A lot of the way we're being portrayed in the media, believe it or not, comes directly from us, because like I said, that's the way these Fortune 500 companies, these media outlets gather the information. So, they're creating content based around their research. I'm going somewhere with this. So like, what do we look at like as a people if we're constantly feeding into the negative stereotypes by posting the negative stereotypes on our platforms? So if we're playing into these negative stigmas and stereotypes that they place over us, this only fosters and enhances the agenda that they've created for our people. So if we're constantly posting pimp culture, whore culture, gang culture, gun culture, drug culture, from the dealer perspective and the user perspective, they're going to create content to grow that brand of where they think that that type of content or would be appreciated. And what I mean by that is these television shows, these movies, this literature, these commercials, endorsements, all misappropriating our people and our culture and our likenesses in a negative way. Because that's, based on their statistical research, they think that's the way we want to be represented. Because that's, what we seem to be interested in. Because like it or not, we're living in the digital age and people judge you based on what you're posting online. They judge you, the content of your character, your hobbies, your interests, your values, your belief systems, your political views, or, whatever, based on whatever you're posting online. So this is why also I call my target audience my narrators, because like I said, we're living in the digital age, and this allows us to be in a unique position to illustrate or narrate our stories. And so that's what I'm trying to do here on the Narrative Podcast. I'm trying to get everybody to intelligently utilize their platforms to narrate our stories about our people and our culture, rather than having the powers that be, do what they've always been doing since their creation is rewrite and tell our story. So, we can get it right from the horse's mouth. We can take control over our own medias. We can't necessarily have control what's happening in the media, but on our digital platforms, we can control the type of content that comes out, that gets posted. We can control the narrative in that respect. So this is what I urge all my listeners to do. Why I urge all my listeners to post positive content about our people and our culture. So a little bit more about my platform. Nitty gritty diving in. So as I said, I refer to our people as original people as opposed to being black. I can give you a million different reasons why, but I'm going to go with the most sensical, if that's a word, the most the reason that makes the most sense about why I refer to our people as original people as opposed to black. There's all types of different types of us, hailing from different land masses, speaking different languages, believing in different ideologies and religions, and so many different things that divide us as a people. But the one very common thing we have in common, the thing that binds us all together, is that we're original people, meaning we was here first. We was here 5,000 years before every other civilization on the planet. And no matter where we're at on the planet, no matter what language we speak, no matter what God we pray to, no matter what ideology or spiritual beliefs that we have, we can all trace our origin back to the main origin of all civilization on this planet. Now, it's debatable where that location is, because the earth has changed several different times in all of its existence, but nevertheless, original people, us, melanated, carbon-based forms, possessing the highest concentrate on the most valuable substance on the planet, we can all trace our lineage back to that original point. And that's the tie that binds us. We all have our different, pronouns, pseudonyms, all kinds of things we refer to ourselves as. But, we can all be in agreement that we are original men and original women. That's the one thing we all can agree on as a people. Next, so I also try to be time sensitive on my platform. I cover vast on a full broadcast day of the Narrator Podcast today, every single weekend. I cover a whole lot of different subjects, and the best way to do that is to be time restrictive. So, when I first started podcasting, I started my podcast in the middle, quarter way through quarantine, as we was coming out of it. It's we were still in it, but we was gearing up for a full start back. So we were slowly coming out of it. That's when I think they just lifted the curfew. They had just lifted the curfew, and we were just coming out of it, but we were still doing like the social distancing and the mask stuff, but we were slowly getting underway is what I'm saying. But when I first started my podcast, I had no idea what I want to talk about, what subject that I want to talk about. I was just like everybody else, because when we was in lockdown, everybody just started a podcast, and it was a hobby. I kept going. Like after, we started back up, I just kept going. But before that, I didn't know what I wanted to talk about. I just used to hit the button and just talk. No clear starting or stopping point. So for that, I didn't really have too big of an audience. But then I took a step back around, my fifth or sixth episode. It was like, let me give myself some clarity, because the last thing I want to do, what I don't want is just to be, have a glorified rant session. I want to, some nice digestible subject matter to facilitate the needs of the people, to match my intent, what I'm trying to do and what I'm trying to bring to the table. What am I trying to bring to the table? Enlightenment, upliftment, and edification of my people. And what is the best way to do that? To make it as simple as possible. So how I did that was, I just broke up my content into sections. I gave each section speaking points, and I kind of try to set a timer to each section, so I'm not, going over my limit to talk about whatever I'm talking about. And as a result of that, this allowed me to, touch on multiple subjects without rambling, going down rabbit holes, and just, ranting. Because, it doesn't matter, because I'm an audio platform. I have to keep the people engaged. I have to keep the people entertained. But I can't do that if I'm boring you guys to sleep. So that's why I try to keep it as simple as possible. My biggest test is not oversimplifying my subject matter, because, the last thing I want to do, I want to be like right there in the middle pocket. I don't want to dumb myself down, but then I also don't want to shoot over people's heads like you would need to keep on Googling every other word I say. So I'm here right in the middle, engaging, everybody at every, degree of learning. So, I'm making the message plain, sounding the alarm, putting out the knowledge for my people, and, informing and entertaining and educating as well. So that's what the Narrator podcast is all about. I can't think of anything else. I think I covered all my bases. So we're going to get on underway. All right. So like, as I said, I have my podcast broken down into sections. Each section has a speaking point. And so here we go. First section of the Narrative podcast is the promo section. And in the promo section, what I'm doing is I'm offering original people that own or operate their own product, or operate or own their own business, have their own product or service, or want, or are hosting some type of event, something that needs to be promoted. I'm offering them the opportunity to reach out to me, Halsey Allen, and get free promotion for the business, product, service, or event that they need or want promoted. And the reason why I'm doing that is to do my part to help circulate the original people dollar within the original people community. Because while we are due, especially here in America, reparations, until we get it, it's up to each and every one of us to network and support each other. So, we have to buy original people owned, aka black owned, but like I said on my platform, I refer to our people as original people. So we gotta support original people owned. We gotta buy it, or if we're not gonna buy it, we gotta use our platforms to promote it. And so that's what I'm doing on the Narrative Podcast. I'm promoting original people owned businesses by making them known. So when you reach out to me, I'm going to make your business known, thus, increasing your profit margin by, bringing you some clientele, making people aware of your business, product, or service. And in turn, I'm not charging anything. I'm just anticipating the people that reach out to me for the promotion are already the types of people that are already giving back and doing for the community, such as like hiring their own, either paying into a nonprofit organization or having their very own nonprofit organization. Do some type of philanthropy or outreach in the community. But anyway, I digress. If you would need or like the free promotion, hit me up, Halsey Allen at passionwebmail@poeticpassion.host. In the subject bar, type promo in the body of the email. Tell me a little bit about yourself, business, product, or service that you would need or like promoted. And I'll gladly promote it for you for 110% free on my platform, the Narrator Podcast. And I'll run it back one more time before going on to my next section. Hit me up again, Halsey Allen at passionwebmail@poeticpassion.host. In the subject bar, type promo, body of the email. Make sure you include every specific detail you want me to know about your business, product, or service so I can tell all my listeners about it. So the more specific you are, the more specific I can be in my, promotional advertisement for you. And again, I'm not charging any money, so all publicity is good publicity, especially positive publicity. And, it's free. You're not getting charged any money. I do have a following, so, only good things could come from it. You have nothing to lose, only something to gain. Take, and utilize my platform. All right, so on to my next section. This section is called the contest section. In this section, what I'm doing is I'm running a contest exclusively for my platform, the Narrator Podcast. It's basically like, incentive / reward / listener participation to get, engage my listeners, to have them, engage my content. As like I don't have guests right now, and this is an audio platform, not a visual one. So this is just like a little test to see who's listening by giving them some homework. So, it's a free contest. Basically, I'm not charging any money to enter to this contest. I'm giving away a bulk supply of your favorite snack food item for participating in the contest topic. And the contest topic is share your most recent shopping while black experience. So pay attention because I'm using the same email address that I just used for the free promotion, but the way I'm separating the two is through the subject bars. So if you would like to enter the Chew on This contest, that's the name of the contest, by the way, hit me up, Halsey Allen at passionwebmail@poeticpassion.host, and in the subject bar, type Chew on This / shopping while black. In the body of the email, make sure to include your most recent shopping while black experience, your mailing address so I know where to send your prize, which is a bulk supply of your favorite snack food item, by the way. And then, of course, your favorite snack food item as your prize, like whatever you would like as a prize for entering the Chew on This contest. Very simple. I'm giving you a bulk supply, so it's not just like one or two. It's like a Costco or a Sam's Club, portion of whatever it is that you like to consume. So one more again. Before moving on to the next topic or next section of the Narrator Podcast, hit me up, Halsey Allen, to enter the Chew on This contest at passionwebmail@poeticpassion.host. In the subject bar, type Chew on This / shopping while black. If you don't want to type the entire word shopping while black, you can type SWB in all caps in the body of the email. Make sure to include your most recent shopping while black experience, your mailing address, and also include what type of snack food item you would like as your prize. All right. So got that out the way. Now here is those two are like the preliminary warm up to the Narrator Podcast. Here is actual like the structural glue of my program. This is the highlight section. In the highlight section, what I'm doing is I'm highlighting businesses owned and operated by original people, like already existing businesses owned and operated by us. And basically I'm giving you like, the origin story of the business. Why am I doing it? I'm doing it to provide a positive frame of reference about entrepreneurship within our community, because we don't have, a lot of frames of reference about that. The limited frames of reference that we have about entrepreneurship are, taken over by degeneracy and dysfunction, because the few, frames of reference about entrepreneurship that we have, unfortunately, come to us via scripted reality television shows. And like the participants on these scripted reality television shows are our people, original men and original women, earning, 5 figures or better, owning and operating their own businesses, or like being, have a well-established brand as an entertainer, but having several people underneath their umbrella. But we don't get to see that on the screen. All we get to see is what the network executives want us to see. And what they want us to see is the fighting, name calling, doing drugs on camera, doing alcohol on camera, sex on camera, just all types of other degeneracy, like, it gets lost in the plot. We're not seeing them commanding their team. We're not seeing them, provide the opportunities. We're not seeing their, their journey, how they started, how they got to that point to now that they are an established brand, how they came up with it, with the idea, and none of that. Because all they want us to see is, the toxicity and the degeneracy. That's all they, show on them type of shows, is the cussing, the name calling, the physical altercations, and they be in like these really nice, fancy places, acting like that. But here, this is an audio platform, so we sidestep all that. And what I do here in the highlight section of the Narrator podcast is I walk you through the journey of entrepreneurs, regular people like you and I, just inspired, that woke up with a dream one day, that followed through on their dream. So basically, I'm walking you through their journey. What they, how they came up with the idea, what obstacles they faced, telling you about their products, their mission statement, their core value systems, the pillars of what they built their product around, the types of opportunities they provide for the communities and family structures, because many of the people that I highlight in the highlight section are family owned and operated businesses. So then I will be also giving you the positive frame of reference of generational wealth. But in addition to that, the types of people I highlight in the highlight section, they do some type of outreach within the community. They hire their own. They pay into a nonprofit organization, or they have their very own nonprofit organization. They do stuff for the community. Do something, like some type of social cause, something positive. And then lastly, it lines up with my theme. And my theme, it's an ongoing thing. It's the season of fall. So that's what the highlight section is about in a nutshell here on the Narrator podcast. Without any further ado, I'm going to dive right on into the highlight section here on the Narrator podcast with my very first business. So, like I said, it is the season of fall. And that was, that's my theme. And something that occurs every fall. We are in the month of October. So, it is today. Let me see what the date is. October 7th, which marks the start of, I don't have a drum roll sound effect. I'm gonna look into that, but it is National Fluffer Nutter Day. So in commemoration of that, I'm going to be highlighting businesses that specialize in my opinion, the quintessential component of a fluffer nutter sandwich, the peanut butter. Now, for those that don't know or unfamiliar what a fluffer nutter is, it's basically like a peanut butter sandwich with marshmallow fluff. Fluffer nutters basically came about in World War I, and You know, it doesn't really, it's all kind of lore and half truth, half legend. You know, there's no really, nothing that can 110% confirm how the fluffernutter sandwich was originated. But essentially, all my information I was finding was it happened sometime around World War I in some place on the East Coast. And, you know, it just became a staple. You know, it took off in the 1970s or late 50s, early 60s, again, like made popular through other, you know, commercials. The fluffernutter sandwich, it was a whole thing. That's when it was at its peak, was in the 60s. That was like, you know, America's pastime snack. But anyway, if you know anything about peanut butter, our brother, George Washington Carver, invented peanut butter. He was a doctor. He had several patents under his belt. Botanist. You know, he was also a member of a fraternity, and just the list goes on. He's like the only person they try to give us for Black History Month. You know, they try to just only say he was only popular for peanut butter, but basically, in retrospect, peanut butter is kind of a revolutionary food. It's complex yet simplistic. It gives you protein and nutrients, sustainability, but, you know, for all intents and purposes today, to meet my, you know, to meet my goals for the highlight section, I'm going to be focusing on original people owned and operated peanut butter brands. So my first peanut butter brand I'll be focusing in on today here on the highlight section of the Narrative Podcast is a brand called Mumgry. And it was established in 2018. And forgive me if I'm mispronouncing this sister's name. She is of Nigerian descent. Her name is Lillian Umangri Chung, UMURUNGI/JUNG. So we just gonna call her Lillian. But her brand got established in 2018. She came up with the idea. Well, first of all, let's go into the name. The name is actually a play on words. It combines mum, because she is Nigerian, but she's currently residing in the UK. So and over there, they say mum as in mother. Like instead of saying mom in the States, we say mom, but up there, they say mum. And then the GRY is hungry. And then another element to the name, mum, is in like moms to be. And I'll get to that part in a second. So she started Mumgry to provide healthy snack options for women who were expecting. Because she came up with the idea while she herself was pregnant, expecting her first child. She went out grocery shopping and she noticed, you know, there weren't any like healthy snack food items, and pregnant women, they're often, you know, having cravings. And so like nothing healthy when the cravings kicked in, like, you know. So basically she had started meal prepping, snack prepping, just walking around, leaving the house with already snacks. So when her cravings kicked in, she already got her snacks on deck, because all the snacks she was finding in the store were trash. They didn't have any, you know, healthy ingredients, of course. So she really focused in on peanuts because peanuts were recommended to her by her physician she was seeing at the time during her pregnancy. And she decided to just start from there making her own peanut butter. So after she incorporated the peanuts into her diet, she started making her own peanut butter. Thus, Mumgry was born. And there really wasn't too much more information on it. Let's see here in my notes. She basically got her big start through Beyonce. Beyonce has her own website, Beyonce.com, where she promotes, small black-owned businesses. Don't know how she really came across her brand, Mumgry, the Mumgry brand, but she promoted it on Beyonce.com, and then she promoted it again. So just in case you thought it was a fluke, just because sometimes, other people be running, celebrities, websites and whatever, in her own personal Instagram, on the Instagram post, Beyonce wrote, Lillian was in her bag on Mumgry, and then had put up a picture of the product Mumgry. So after that endorsement, she kind of skyrocketed. She hires her own, gives back. And then also, currently, they recently launched an initiative called Mumgry Mondays, where they spotlight a person doing a charitable deed, something, charitable, giving back to the community. So they'll put it like on their website, advertise whatever person is doing the noble deed, the good deed. And that's kind of what I do here too. On my podcast, I got a section called the Spotlight section. It's not there yet, but after the highlight section is coming up, so spoiler alert, next section on the Narrator podcast is the Spotlight section. But that'll do it. That was that sister's journey. Please join me in giving Sister Lillian a warm Narrative podcast round of applause for Mumgry brand peanut butter. All right, moving right along, the next brand I'll be highlighting in the highlight section on the Narrative podcast is Levy Spicy Peanut Butter. And again, apologies on any mispronunciation. Now, this sister just happens to be Haitian. The brand was established in 2010 by a sister by the name of Serglin Malvoisian, Serglin Malvoisin. So it's Haitian. So all my Haitian brothers and sisters out there, please don't get mad at your boy. I don't speak French. Through colonization, like a whole lot of places in Haiti, like speak French. So I don't know if her name has French, but derives from France, but yeah. Anyway. So basically, If you're not familiar with Haitian culture, spicy peanut butter is a part of their, food culture. Like everything is spicy over there. They got some stuff called pickles. It will burn a hole through some cement. You hear me? But so like spicy peanut butter had always been in her culture, and she began making spicy peanut butter when she started learning how to grow peanuts, because the part of Haiti that she was in had an overabundance of peanuts, but she didn't know how to cultivate what was already there. So she participated in this program called, now this is America, but I might be mispronouncing this too, Essesio. And basically Essesio Haiti, it's like a worldwide initiative for small farms all over the world. Basically, it's an organization to help keep farms independent, keeping them from being outsourced by like big faceless corporations, by training the locals that live in that area to harvest the main crop that grows in that area. And like I said, the main crop that grows over in that part of Haiti that sister was in was peanuts. And so that's exactly what she did. So basically it's I guess it's a co-op initiative. It's like a group of farmers, and they work the land. They teach everybody how to farm, and then they go on to different parts and other regions of that country using that same initiative, that same training initiative to keep the farm industry thriving in that area, that region. So now for her brand in general, like I said, she specializes in Haitian peanut butter. So she got mild, medium. Everything is at a spice tolerance, so it ranges from mild, medium to spicy. Now, keep in mind it's Haitian, so a mild a mild in Haiti is probably our spicy in America. So, but they have flavors as well. They got chocolate, cinnamon, and original. Everything is all organic, non-GMO, all natural products, nothing processed. It's also a sustainable food, nationally HACCP certified, and they work directly, with Haitian farmers. So, it's all about sustainability and providing opportunities for the local residents. So when you support that brand, you're essentially supporting Haiti. So let's give a warm Narrative Podcast round of applause for our sister Sergi. I'm going to just call her Sergi. And Levy Spicy Peanut Butter brand. All right, now we got some homegrown talent, a name I can actually pronounce. This is, okay, so the next product is called PB and Jams. And this is a brand by a sister by the name of Megan Gibson. And our sister used to be a former DJ turned educator. Didn't say where she, what clubs or anything, what her hip hop background was, but she used to spin the ones and twos. She's West Philadelphia, born and raised. But she's from West Philly, a teacher in West Philly, teaching at West Philly High School currently. I guess I forgot to put it in the notes what she taught. Oh, she's a health teacher. She's taught nutrition. And so I don't think nutrition had anything to do with her, making peanut butter. But yeah, she actually decided to start making peanut butter. Just ironically, I just got through talking about Haitian peanut butter, but her experience was she kind of fell in love with peanut butter when somebody introduced her to Haitian peanut butter. So she started making her own nut butters. Now the difference between her is like she not only makes Haitian peanut butter, but she also makes just nut butters in general. Cashew, almond, hazelnut, whatever. But I'm about to go on a little side tangent. So, like, when you're consuming nut butters, just kind of be wary of almonds or anything containing almonds, because almonds have trace amounts, real finite, minuscule amounts of cyanide in them. So you want to kind of be leery of almonds, anything containing almonds, because a little bit goes a long way. Because over a course of time, if you're always constantly eating almonds, So yeah, basically she had got her starts. After she perfected her brand, she started doing pop-ups. She kickstarted her brand using $15,000 of her own money. And then she got another $3,000 from Zip. I don't know what that is, some type of startup program. She advertises on Facebook. She does have a website, but when I visited the website was down. So I don't know if she's using that website anymore. But she advertises on Facebook and Instagram. All you got to do is type PB and Jams, and I almost glazed over. The coolest part of her brand is the name itself, PB and Jams. She doesn't sell jelly. The jams part of it comes from, because she used to be a DJ. She was spinning the jams. Get it? PB Jams. That's how she came up with the name. All right, so the next section of the Narrator podcast is called the Spotlight section. In the Spotlight section, what I'm doing, just kind of glazed over it. Back up for a teensy second. Join me into giving our sister Megan Gibson and PB Jams brand peanut butter a warm Narrative podcast round of applause. All right, so rocking and rolling. Next section of the Narrative podcast, Spotlight section. Spotlight section, what I'm doing is I'm spotlighting prominent figures within our community that impact our community in a positive way. They use their platform to uplift and edify our people. The people I usually spotlight on the spotlight section of the Narrator podcast is, usually in the entertainment industry, ranging from the fields of acting, athletic, athletes, actors, actresses, comedians, recording artists of all genres like rap, hip hop, singing, R&B, etc., 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 musicians, writers, producers, public figures, people that are going off viral on the net, TikTokers, grammars, YouTubers. But as of late, I've kind of moved away from that because the whole purpose of me spotlighting is kind of this podcast is to take away from the negative stereotypes that they come up for our people. And unfortunately, a stereotype is we can't do anything other than be entertainers. So as of late, I've been trying to just spotlight regular people. But I think last week I spotlighted Deion Sanders. Also in the spotlight section, what I like to tend to do is 1 week I'll do a male, 1 week I'll do a female to kind of keep that little balance. Anyway, the purpose of me spotlighting is to create the healthy habits of utilizing your platform, to encourage the listeners to utilize their platform to say something positive about a brother or a sister on their platform instead of something negative or denigrating a brother or sister on the platform. Because unfortunately, as a people, we have a really bad habit of dragging each other on social media. And we are the only people to do it. Nobody else does it. It's like every time we drag each other, we go viral, and it's been incentivized by the powers that be, to do that, to run each other down, talk bad about each other, drag people into our, disagreements that don't even have anything to do with it, using social media to air our dirty laundry, and we're the only people to do it. You ain't never seen two Asian people clapping back online at each other. You ain't never seen two people of Middle Eastern descent clapping back at each other on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, or whatever. We're the only people to do it. So what I want to do is design a healthy habit to just kind of applaud the efforts of a brother or sister doing something positive through, their platform that they occupy. So the people I spotlight, they also, do something for the community, like give back, or just make us associating our entire, race of people or, collective of people through them, the way they carry and conduct themselves in a dignified manner, or just, keeping themselves up and you look at that person and that's how we're supposed to all carry and conduct ourselves in a good way, not a negative way. So I'm definitely not putting anybody that I spotlight on a pedestal. I'm just simply giving them their roses for, good work that they've done within the community and representing us in a positive light. And not for nothing, I created the wave for spotlighting. Because before I added a spotlight section to my podcast, the Narrative Podcast, nobody was spotlighting anybody until I added the spotlight section here on the Narrator Podcast. Yeah.
listening to the Narrative Podcast with Halsey Allen. The Narrative Podcast is changing the narrative one episode at a time.
In the real way. But without any further ado, on to the spotlight section of the Narrative Podcast. And this week's spotlight goes to a sister by the name of Kamone Felix. Kamone is a poet born 1992 from the Bronx borough of New York City. She received a Master's of College of Fine Arts from Bard College. In 2015, she has wrote Andrew Cuomo's speech. So the mayor of New York, she wrote a speech for him, and onto her accolades. In addition to being a poet, she's also like a communications strategist, which basically just means she writes speeches for politicians. She also teaches creative writing, and she's written a couple of books. 2015. And I think I forgot to write that her two books in the one of her books is called Build Yourself a Boat, but she wrote like two of them, and she's in I think she's about to release another one. She's done tremendous amount of work in a short amount of time. She's very established being that young. It's refreshing always to see a sister that young, a young lady, not twerking, not down with this degenerate culture. Like, and I'm gonna backtrack a little bit later on in the segment on my next section, but just exuding femininity, playing up her intellect, and basically acting like she got some sense. Not saying putting her on the pedestal, saying she's perfect and the perfect representation of, womanhood, but definitely not ratchet. So, yeah. That's why I'm giving that sister the spotlight on the Narrative Podcast this week. She has tons of accomplishments. She writes poetry, she writes books, she's affluent in politics. She does a whole lot of public speaking. Matter of fact, you can go on the poetry side of it, you can go to All Deaf Poetry on YouTube, and she got a piece called High School Reunion. You should check that out today. And that'll do it for the spotlight section of the Narrative Podcast. So help me give that sister a warm round of applause. Kamone Felix and all of her accomplishments. Salute to you, sister, for everything you do and are doing currently for us. All right, so here we go. Getting it in. Health and wellness section of the Narrative Podcast. Now, health and wellness, it is just how it sounds. It's about health and wellness. And what I do is give health and wellness tips for our people. Now, here's a disclaimer. Anybody who listens to the Narrator podcast, no matter what background you come from, upbringing, you're more than free to listen to the Narrator podcast, especially if you're looking for positive frames of reference about original people and original culture. You're definitely in the right spot, but just know, all information on this platform is geared towards my target audience, and my target audience is my people, original people. So having said that, while most religious people say we're all God's children, we're all created equal, that's just the biggest load of crock ever. We're not, all equal. We all have unique compositions. We all have unique cultural things we identify with, so we're not all equal in that right. Because there are things within your diet that my constitution can't process, will kill me. There are certain religious and I'm choking on the word ideology. You know what I'm trying to say. Ideologies that you believe in that just wouldn't suit me. Couldn't work for me. It would kill me. So, and tacking on to that, out of all the people on the planet, our people is the most at risk and under attack on all the people on the planet. So, having said that, we're just different. And so our people have sustained and are sustaining more damage than everybody. Pretty much, the powers that be are weaponizing nature against our people. They're trying to eradicate our people. They're putting things in the food, in the air. Also mentally and spiritually attacking our people. And that's what the health and wellness section is all about, is for how my people to armor up and protect ourselves in all the areas that we're being attacked. Mentally, physically, and spiritually. They're also attacking us financially, but I don't give, financial advice, because I believe health is wealth. But anyway, so the types of advice you will hear in the health and wellness section here on the Narrator podcast would be, for example, for physical, the health benefits of a fruit, vegetable, plant herb extract that you can ingest or apply topically to, improve your health, your physical health. Tips to improve your mental health here on the Narrator podcast, health and wellness section. Exercises mental exercises that you can do to improve, the sharpness of your mind, because we're being attacked mentally. They're weaponizing the media against us, and that does something to your psyche. So types of tips that you can strengthen your mental faculties, such as mindful breathing, emotional intelligence, meditation, the things just to keep you mentally grounded. And then on the spiritual side of it, because we're being attacked spiritually. So praying, meditating again. So yeah, that's basically what I do in the health and wellness section on the Narrative Podcast. I give my people the optimum tools they would need to keep and maintain an active, healthy, fit lifestyle, keeping us around a lot longer because it's an inherent plot to get rid of this. So we need to stay armored up and protect ourselves so we can be there for our family, ourselves, and, see the end of this journey and experience what everything life has to offer in a conscious mind state and a sound body. So having said all that, let's dive on into the health and wellness tip of the week here on the Narrative Podcast this week. And today's featured topic of the health and wellness section of the Narrative Podcast today is physical. And so we're going to focus on physical health today. We're going to do the health benefits of a superfood, and that would be the pomegranate. So the pomegranate has been around for thousands of years. It is full of health benefits. The fruit itself, the outside can't be eaten, so it's actually a budding flower. And proof of that is the flesh is the seeds. So you're eating, when you split a pomegranate open, it's the seeds that got all the health benefits. That liquidy stuff surrounded the seeds. It's good. You can drink pomegranate juice. It has a tight, slightly tart taste, but it tastes very good. In the fresh form is the best way to consume it, but you can also, of course, juice it. The biggest gripe most people have with the pomegranate is it's like really messy. So if you got a Formica countertop, like, it stains really easily. So you just got to be very careful when cutting into a pomegranate, because it's going to stain any surface area that it's on when you cut into it. It's going to stain your hands as well. So you want to have like a good absorbent, like something underneath it when you cut it. Another technique that I saw on YouTube with cutting a pomegranate is just to submerge it underwater. Now that technique is good because it gets all the mess, but then all the flavor. So I don't know, it's just like there's no happy medium for eating a pomegranate. But basically a pomegranate is a flowering bud. Like, pomegranate itself is a bulb from the flower after it's fully matured. Pomegranates originated in Central America, but then they found its way over into Greece, like when Spain and all that start trading with different countries. They start trading with Greek. That's how the pomegranate made its way over there. But it has a wellspurt of nutritional health benefits, and among those benefits it's an antioxidant. So if you know anything about antioxidant basically is a fat burner. So if you're trying to lose weight, you definitely will want a pomegranate. Packed with tons of nutrients. It's nutrient dense. Has over 10 nutrients, over 10 vitamins, over 10 minerals. Promotes gut health. Pomegranate will clean you out. The seed itself and like the juice surrounding the seed, of course, it just flush out all those toxins immediately. Flush out any heavy metals you might have in your body. Good to eradicate free radicals. Free radicals, if you're not familiar with that term, that's basically like a accumulation of negatively charged ions. And when you have too much of that in the body, it causes like a whole lot of problems internally inside the body. So you don't want an accumulation of free radicals. Also promotes healthy brain functions. In men, it can improve your libido. So if you're having like problems such as like, well, we all grown here, so if you experience like ED, pomegranate will help with that. Pomegranate also within women will help with the menstrual cycle, and it helps maintain your pH balance. And back in them days, in the like I said, it made its way over to Greece, and what they used to do with pomegranate is they used to use it as an aphrodisiac. So there's no clinical studies or evidence to support that it does anything arousal wise, to enhance mood or anything like that, but it was used in ancient times as an aphrodisiac. It's antibacterial, antimicrobial, and anti-inflammatory. So it's all the antis, good stuff. It eradicate, pretty much any type of disease in your body. It will supercharge your cells. It'll flush out any type of mucus, bile, heavy metals, anything in your body that's not supposed to be in there. Pomegranates will help, the body suss it out. There's no real drawbacks of pomegranates other than they're costly. It's not the most cheap thing. It ain't cheap. Like in any supermarket all over the world, one is just going to run you anywhere from $3 to $5, depending where you're at in the world. They're expensive, so they ain't cheap at all. But the health benefits you will derive from it, will more than make up for the food bill, because they're high in fiber too. So the more you eat, the less cravings you will have, the less sugar cravings you will have, the less everything you will have. So like pomegranate is definitely used in like Middle Eastern cooking. They make in Mediterranean culture wines out of pomegranate. It's a versatile fruit and has a whole lot of health benefits, and it would be advantageous to you to incorporate pomegranate into your diet on a regular basis. So whatever you're doing, get you some pomegranate in your life. It won't solve everything, but it'll solve most things. All right. Second to last section of the Narrative Podcast. This section is called My Speaking Point of the Day. And the purpose of this section is to bring awareness about, breaking news, whether it's globally or something within specifically our community. Because if history hasn't taught us anything, it's taught us this: if you don't tell your own story, your story will be told for you. So this is me telling our story for us, through our own lens, because, as I said previously, the media will warp and skew whatever information's floating around about anything to, paint us in the worst light possible. So, that's what, the scope that I tend to break things down is through our lens. So yeah, that's what the speaking point of the day is all about. I got a couple things I want to touch on, but I do want to backtrack a bit to last week on Thursday when I did my live post, and I was talking about our sisters, the representation of our sisters in hip hop, about the over sexualization. I had it in my notes, but I kind of got long-winded and I didn't make it. Example that I always give about the over sexualization of our women in the media, in any industry, whether it's an actress, whether it's a comedian, whether it's a female R&B singer, whether it's a female rapper, is like the hypersexualization of them. And an example story I always give when I feel like, a sister's being exploited is, this story of Sarah Bartman. And if you don't know who Sarah Bartman is, Google it. Her life story, basically, she broke the mold for thickness. She taught, in Europe, they didn't see a woman like that with her bodily dimensions. That was the first time ever. She was the big booty before the big booty was a thing. And it was all natural, all straight from the motherland. You feel me? So what they did to Sarah Bartman is they put her on display. They made her a living specimen. Basically, they put her in a zoo. They came and got her, or she was originally from northern or eastern Africa. I believe it was northern Africa, somewhere on the Ivory Coast, maybe on east. I might have to check. So yeah, anytime a sister's being exploited, it just reminds me of the story of Sarah Bartman. And I was talking last week or earlier on in the week about, the perception of sisters in hip hop, this degenerate culture that seems to be a thing now. It's just degeneracy, using their bodies to promote their projects. Another thing I didn't get a chance to hit on was like a gimmick. We can't sit up here and act like there's never been such as a gimmick rapper. So now the gimmick is to sell, rap music for a female, is to, hypersexualize her, make her talk about, deviant sexual acts on her album, gyrating in public, put her in outfits showcasing her, bodily dimensions, and not in a good way. So that's all I want to talk about. And then also my overlying point that I want to make that I don't feel like I got to is like approaching sisters like that. So what I wanted my main point that I was hitting on was establishing healthy dialogue. I think if you establish healthy dialogue with any one of these sisters, we'll see some type of change. Because, it's not them, it's the machine that they're plugged into. So we shouldn't be saying, this person's an industry plant, that person's industry plant. This is a sister coming out the hood. They slid her a bag, and okay, they gave her a persona, because through the dawn of hip hop, all rappers, all genres had a hip hop persona, their stage name, and whatever they do on that stage, that's their persona. When they leave that stage, they're a whole different person with a whole different set of rules. So I'm inclined to believe they don't act like that 24 hours a day. They're not sitting up there talking, making all these reckless statements about their sexuality, about, come lick this, come get up in this, and all that nastiness, and twerking, and, exposing themselves at inopportune times, like on on red carpets and halftime shows, and, so that's all I want. The point that I felt I missed when I was talking about that. So that's just something real poignant that I want us all to keep in mind, because there's a difference between critiquing and scrutinizing. And it's okay to give a critique, but when you critique somebody, you have to have a productive, solution-based thing to your critique. You can't just critique and then have no solution, because then you're not critiquing, you're scrutinizing. So we don't need to scrutinize the sisters. If you want to give your illicit critique of how they carry and conduct themselves, critique them accordingly. Pull them to the side if you can, or, request their audience, request their presence. If you're a content creator, if you're a YouTuber, or if you're another female rapper, or if you're a fan of hip hop and you want to just know, like, why is y'all sitting up there talking about your JJs and wearing these type of outfits? Like, it's all in the approach. It's all in the approach. More flies with honey. Like, talk to them how you would want somebody to talk to you. So don't, go all off on the side of your neck when you approach them, and just sit down, and I'm pretty sure they'll engage you and have a nice intellectual conversation, and then y'all can build from there. But don't get on your platform and be like, oh, y'all nasty bitches, and sitting up there, and that's what they want you to do, and y'all just sitting up there playing into their hands, and da-da-da-da-da, but with no actual solution to it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're all a community, we all family, we gotta act like family. We all got black sheeps of the family. So what you gonna do? You gonna just stop loving your family? And the biggest example that I can give of somebody loves everybody and don't judge nobody is the Honorable Louis Minister Farrakhan. He's never not, in his whole, history of doing it, has never not came up to bat for a brother and sister, even though he probably kind of knew they was at fault. So he never judged R. Kelly. He never judged Ye when Ye was going through his little thing. Like, he never judged nobody. So we should have that same energy with the people. Like, if we want to see people, bring about positive change within somebody, come from a space of, what I'm trying to say is, come from a space of nurturing, come from a genuine space of wanting the best for them and concern. Like, but don't just be getting on your platforms, blasting them, saying they industry plants and they just nasty, slutty, skanky, what's, all that. Because they somebody's aunt, they somebody's niece, they somebody's cousin, they somebody's mama. Like, be real. And in these days, they might be somebody's grandma, because, like, these shorties is having kids at, like, 10, 12, 13 now, so. That's all I want to just point out. I just want to backtrack on that. But I do got some breaking news I want to touch on. So there is a current class action lawsuit against the there's a class action lawsuit against the Poulter Group. And the Poulter Group is a Fortune 500 company out in LLC. And so what happened was, they had 3 brothers under their employ, and every time they would have board meetings, they would sit up here and put a noose out, like just a legit a noose on the table, saying something without actually saying it. Now, keep in mind, yes, we do need our own companies. This is the primary example of why we need our own communities, primary example of why we need our own companies, because no matter how hard you work, no matter how productive of an employee you are, at the end of the day, to them, you're that noose that they put on the table. And that's what they was doing to these brothers. They was putting a noose out on the boardroom table every time they would have a boardroom meeting. So these 3 brothers, Richard Turnbow, Idris Hartsfield, 2 brothers, 3, you didn't say, would, every time they would go and have a corporate meeting, you know, and in places like that, it's a construction business. So, you know, the general labor, warehouse, factory, usually when they have meetings like that, it's just like, we need to focus on this area, that area. And then we need to, you know, they're talking about time limits and budget and all that. But they whip out a noose. And now these days, and this didn't happen like in the 90s, this happened in 2020. So this happened like in the now. When it happened, yeah, it was 20 years ago, but even back then we had no tolerance policies, you know, sexual harassment, retaliation, all that. That's really kind of when that year in the 2020s is like, you know, all over the nation, they was cracking down on it. There was supposedly at 0 tolerance for that type of stuff. But, you know, again, the system, like I say on my platform, time and time again, the system is not designed to accommodate us, especially in the realm of the 9 to 5, because it's really, really difficult to get justice, to get a wrongful termination suit, a harassment, a retaliation suit, because 9 out of 10 attorneys, you will tell the attorney, most attorneys will, you know, they'll do the credential check, see the company you're talking about, and by how large of a corporation they are, like if they have their own legal team, 9 out of 10, the lawyer will pass. They'll say, hey, they'll hit you up and they'll be like, our caseload is too big. And the reason why is because, you know, if you pay attention to your benefits pack when you start working for places like that, in your benefits is legal funds. So anytime you're working somewhere and they offer, you know, discounted legal services as a part of your benefits, it's a double-edged sword, because a lot of law firms can't take it because it's double jeopardy, because they have a standing with the company. So like you get on the phone if the depending on what state you're in, you know, they did this to me and that they did that to me, they'll tell you to go to your either to the federal EEOC or your local EEOC company and file a charge. They'll tell you to go to your local or federal EEOC division and file a charge of harassment, a charge of retaliation, and The problem with that is the EEOC is like, they're a neutral entity. So their investigation, so even if, they have their investigation and they find everything you said to be true, accurate, they're not there to, help you win anything anyway. They're just there like to be a neutral observant. They're there to check X, Y, and Z to make sure, it's red tape is what it is. The EEOC is just basically red tape. And so it takes anywhere from 4 to 6 months for the investigation to conclude from the time you filed it. You got 300 days within the time frame to file one when it happened. And then, after proceedings, whether the EEOC said your finding you was justified for filing it or not justified for filing it, they give you the option to, pursue a right to sue. And then you got 2 years to sue the company. You got 2 years to take it to court, but then you only got 3 months after you put in writing the formal permission to take it to court. You only got 3 months to file the lawsuit. And this is why a whole lot of lawyers pass on EEOC cases. Conversely, you can also do a whistleblowers with OSHA, same exact process. Now the whistleblowers is a lot more thorough than the EEOC. So meaning if if they find one inconsistency, like if they check one box for a OSHA, investigation, like they find one thing on your complaint letter to be true, that company is in big trouble. They're going to pay like some buku fines. Some people's going to get fired. They're going to have to pay fines, even if one thing. So that's the that's the one thing OSHA has over the EEOC. It's like the penalties is more severe for the company, but both of entities are not for the employee. And then if we're keeping it a bean, HR ain't for the employee. Even though HR is there to just make sure the company's abiding by state and federal labor practices. But they're not there for the employee. Actually, HR is the employee's enemy, because the one time you complain to HR, now you're on the radar. So now, after you complain to the HR, now you got a target on your back. Now they're looking for any excuse to terminate you from the company. When you go complain to HR is not your friend. Like, even though now most of them, HR companies, they have these little anonymous hotlines, like, it still ain't your friend. Like, because especially if the person you are complaining about is upper level management and been there 5 to 10 years. Like, HR, they just crunch the numbers. It's like, okay, we just hired this person. They've been here for less than a year. We're not going to write up or fire this person that's been with us for 5 or 10 years, because then, we'll have to have a new supervisor. And, the selection process can take 6 months to 1 year. They've already been here 7, 8. Then we're going to have to pay them all this amount of money for unemployment when we fire them. Then we're going to have to give them a severance pack if they got severance pack in their benefits. So unemployment and severance package, that's how HR thinks. HR thinks in the terms of, devil's advocate. That's what HR is, devil's advocate. We're going to go with the win-win scenario for the company. HR is for the company, not for the employee. They're going to do they're going to do what is in the best interest of the company. So anytime you complain to HR, like, it's already a wrap. You might as well just get you another gig. Primary example, to have your own business, but after you complain to HR, you might as well just go and get you another gig. Be looking for something else, because as soon as you do it, now you're walking around with a bullseye on your back. They're going to be writing you up left and right, trying to ruin all your livelihood within the company. And then, like, when they're done with you, you're probably not even going to be able to find another job for a very long time, because they're going to do your personnel file dirty as heck. So this is why lawyers kind of tend to not take EEOC cases and OSHA cases, like the wrongful termination and EEOC, retaliation and termination. Those are some really hard areas to find legal representation for. But these brothers found a legal representation for it. But you see, it happened all the way in 2020. And it's just now, they're just now getting justice for it. So class action suit, like I said, you only got 2 years, up to 2 years to file. Usually, typically, it depends on what state you're in, but you usually only got like 2 years to file a EEOC or a OSHA. Now, I don't know how they got it almost 20 years after the fact. They must have had some like really good concrete stuff, and then the wheels of justice turn slowly. So there's probably something that happened within their state that allowed them to do that, to pursue the case, but it takes a long time. And usually by the time you get a judgment, for how long you spent researching your case, money you paid to the lawyer, if you paid money to the lawyer, the retainer and all that, all the stuff that you was putting up from the employer while you was there at the company, the time span you spent separated from the company, because like after you filed the HR complaint, after you filed that EEOC and the OSHA, your time with that company, believe me, your time's up as soon as you do it. As soon as you do it, you're gone. It's not going to be worth it, is what I'm saying. By the time you finally do get your judgment, it ain't even going to be worth it. Even if you get like a 2.3 million, 100,000 for all what you went through, all the mental anguish that you suffered at them people, and then God forbid you actually injured yourself physically, had a physical injury, on top of all the mental abuse you went through with the company, all the nights of sleep you lost, all the mental duress that you suffered at the hands of these managers and supervisors doing you dirty. By the time you get a judgment, it ain't gonna be worth nothing. Like, I mean, it'll be all right. You'll be like, yeah, I won. You have that because you won, because you ain't crazy. Like, they doing me dirty. Like, it's really just a self-gratification thing. Fucking bastards want to rev the engine. He's just going out of his way. Now, where was the motherfucking police when he came around the corner? Bitches, this the fucking Barney Fife estate. He gonna rev his engine. Like, why is he gunning his motor like that? Filthy beast. Oh my God, fucking just go. Got that shit blasting, you stuck bastard.